मस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Yes, namaste. Today in Gita Talks, we are going to be looking at a topic suggested by our Delight family members, and multiple persons suggested this topic of Vyadhi or disease. Before we look at what the Gita says, can we just look at it from our perspective? What is it that we would like to cover? Yes, please. Anybody? What would you like? Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, Ji.
What? Sorry, I didn't get the last bit of your sentence.
Yeah, no. So, what do we like to cover today on Vyadhi? I will cover what the Gita has said, but in what, like somebody had suggested in terms of comatose patients, I think, but I think that individual is not present, so I don't know exact perspective. What would you like to know in this? We will look at that and move ahead.
How it affects daily life, because that's what causes what
Ah,
eventually happens.
okay, so Vyadhi in daily life, a disease, and how do we deal with it? All right. Monik ji, would you like to add something? Is it?
Uh,
Yes?
no, yeah, you can
Oh,
continue. It's okay.
all right. So let us continue. Yes. If we see, disease is something which is a part of everybody's life. I don't think it brings anybody any sort of ease or comfort. It is disease only, which is disturbing us in some way or the other. We all work for, reaching that ultimate stage where we will become free of diseases. But that is still an ideal which is not yet manifest. The ancient yogis lived in communion with nature. They had a beautiful lifestyle. They practiced what we call yoga in the real sense, union with the divine, union with the cosmic consciousness, union in their ahar, union in their vihar, their food and their lifestyle. All these factors allowed them to have long life. And we have seen as one associates with nature, we kind of have a better health, isn't it? There is a very intrinsic connection between disease and nature. So, nature, they say, cures sometimes. Ayurveda is talking about herbs which cure diseases. But is nature responsible for disease?
Not really. We are
We are responsible.
responsible for our illnesses. It's our thoughts which mess up the chemicals, because we're all a bundle of chemicals at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
that's my understanding, and it makes sense.
But
And
are
so
we part of nature?
we are part of nature, but when we go out, let's say in nature, if you're disturbed, depressed, the first thing is to step out of the house and be out in the open. And it's quite cleansing, like the Japanese have what they call forest bathing. Be out
Ah,
amongst the forest. It's that breathing of the nature, the breath of the nature that cleanses all that's going on, because the disease is physical, but it's not just inside, it's outside as well. So it
okay.
has a cleansing effect on us.
Okay, it is interesting you mentioned about Japanese because I think it was Chitraji who mentioned today about Japanese population. Some several lakh individuals crossed 100 years in Japan. Some
Yeah.
article was there. And so,
Yes.
yeah, so this is disease is something which is we can say part of our life, and this is something we would like to control if possible, eliminate. And that
Mm,
is why we have been told by so many ways, that so many paths. They talk about regulation of different aspects of life. But interestingly, in the Gita, the word Vyadhi comes in a chapter called the Kshetrajna Vibhaga, the 13th adhyaya of the Gita, where Krishna is telling Arjuna the way of the Kshetrajna, or the one who is an expert. It is interesting that in that he first talks about the body as first thing. He says, Idam Shariram Kaunteya. This physical body is the field. This is the field that you must understand. You must understand and know, because you know your body better than anybody else. When you go to a doctor, of course, the doctor has the knowledge of treatment, knowledge of diagnosis, but the patient knows what is the history, and without the history, no treatment is possible. The doctor cannot guess if the patient has allergies to certain medications, or the doctor cannot, even sometimes patients have different thresholds also. Sometimes some patients are very, can say, they don't have very low threshold to pain. So then what has to be done? So if you do not know your body, it is something you will not be able to move ahead in life, because Krishna says that the sadhana also has to happen through the vehicle of the body. The body is a vehicle, and that is how, if we do not become conscious of our body, that is something which is going to create a lot of disturbance. But interestingly, Gita talks about vikara, or distortions, also present in the same field, in the kshetra. Kshetra is the world, so there are distortions also. That means no matter how hard we try, we will be coming face to face with disease. I met somebody, that person suddenly got diagnosed with cancer, and she was telling me, I want to see dreams. Can I not see dreams? This is a set particular stage of cancer, and but one doctor also told her that you cannot see you're not going to live for too long. Then she went to another junior doctor who said, you have a chance to live long if this works. So when she went to the senior doctor to tell that, he said, so now you are going to give importance to the diagnosis of a junior doctor, forgetting what is the gravity. And surprisingly, she got a letter from that institute, from that medical institute, that she is cancer free 1 year later, when she was told she had only a few months. So what was that journey? Is she started working and fighting. Initially, she felt that I need to give up. I don't want to waste my parents' money. A young girl, hardly 26 years of age. She was almost certain that this is pointless. Why should I? She invited her father to the after the diagnosis where she was staying. She invited her father to come. She cleaned up everything as if nothing has happened, and then told, and then the entire family stood together in that journey. And then a transformation took place in her life also, with probably the divine. So while there are deformations, there are distortions in the field, there is also something called the unmanifest light. Krishna calls it the avyakta. If you look at the exact shloka, if you see the fifth shloka of the 13th adhyaya, Mahabhutani Ahankaro Buddhiravyaktamev cha Indriyani Dashaikam cha Panchachendriya Gochara. The field consists of the ego and the five elements, the mind, the 10 senses, and the five sense components of touch, smell, sound, sight, and also the inextensible and unmanifest light, a light of the divine which is not yet manifest. And that light, if we can connect, maybe we can actually get some motivation. Again, in terms of disease, there was a very interesting, like we have an online workshop, online meeting, something like that. There was a workshop on medicine and spirituality. And all the doctors who were that way quite busy in their everyday routines, they would meet up and discuss over a particular topic. And somehow somebody felt spirituality means I can get a chance to attend. So I got the invitation to attend. So I just attended as a participant. It was very interesting to see how All the doctors were talking about it. One doctor said, I have personally no time for spirituality or reading, or I have not had any such experience. I don't really believe much in any of the spiritual aspects of life. But I have seen my patients. He said those patients who have a spiritual perspective have a greater tolerance of pain, they have a greater post operative recovery, and they are extremely cheerful irrespective of the nature of their illness. I have seen a greater aspect, and he was suggesting and proposing to conduct a clinical trial on the same because he felt why this is important. Maybe that would allow people to recognize the importance of this divine. Or in the Veda, we have this Ayam me hasto Bhagavana, Ayam me Bhagavattara, Ayam me Vishwa Bheshajo, Ayam Shiva Vimarshana. This my hand is auspicious. This other hand is even more auspicious. Why is that? Because these hands are being used to worship the divine. And so they have the power to cure all the diseases of the world. I am me Vishwa Bheshajo. I am Shiva Vimarshana. It's like for my grandmother, I remember once my grandmother was having this attack of some sort of asthma and she was bedridden. And unfortunately, my parents were not there. And my father had gone to play some sports at that time. He would generally go as part of his routine. Badminton, he would play. And my mother was also, for some reason, away. And I really didn't know what to do. I just kept patting on her head. I kept patting on her head, just praying silently because there's nothing I can do. I can't panic. I just prayed, hoping that it will come down. It will come down. And I was so surprised after a while, she became quite stable and I didn't understand what had happened. Now, the same, my grandmother went through a lot of physical trouble in her last moments. But interestingly, she got disconnected from her Indriyas. We just saw that Indriyas are there. She got disconnected from the Indriyas. While there was edema and swelling in different parts of the body, she was not experiencing any of it. In her mind, she was visualizing she is in school. Her teacher has given her a slate. That was one funny statement she said. And it was very interesting because the nurse had plaited her hair like they do for school children. And they had even tied ribbons. So that was very sweet. And another interesting aspect was I remember she just move your hand. That is what she did not tell me, but she was talking to someone else. Move your hand. I asked what happened. No, no, I'm putting salt. There is some big marriage and she's preparing the food for so many people in the marriage. Because my grandmother was very interested in cooking. When my grandfather told her, I will take you to school, she said, I'll make 100 chapatis. Please don't send me to school. I don't want to go. So now you see this, the physical body is going through a very difficult, painful experience. And yet the individual has got somehow disconnected from what we call from the indriyas, isn't it? The physical body is basically our input system from the world is indriyas. But inside of us is the Atman, no? The divine who is sitting quietly, covertly. And yogis have understood somehow the beautiful connection. Or maybe they have learned the way of disconnection also. If you see, Ramana Maharshi had a great some ability of turning off physical pain. He said, I do not want anesthesia, and he got operated without anesthesia. That was so strange. It was so difficult. The doctor also was worried, how is this possible? But it was as if, how can someone do that? It is only when somebody has great control over the physical body. And it was his shishyas who made him undergo the operation. He was against that as well. They was really, and during that period, another Shishya had a similar problem, and he told you take this particular medicine and it will help you. And that person got cured, but he had to go through several troubles in his final moments. So we have seen great yogis, great rishis, even the great awakened seers. They also sometimes have to go through disease, and disease comes at any time. We cannot say it is not going to come at a particular time. That also means that though we do not like it, it is there. It is a part of our life, isn't it? Then comes the big question as to how do we deal with it? And that is something, because that is something we have to recognize. Anybody, how do we deal with it? How do we treat it if it is not something we like?
We have to find tools to deal with it calmly, because at the end of the day, you cannot rely on somebody, an outside person. They can only give you pills or whatever, but that also will
Hmm.
not, it will only work so long, but you've got to learn to deal with it. And I found lots of people say, I've heard or I've read, that calming the mind, like meditation, breathing, the correct technique of breathing, it does make a lot of difference.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like sort of leads you away from the pain kind of thing. And once again, it's all about how the chemicals in the body, what you do, it balances things out.
Yeah, yeah. And if it's like, if you stress over a problem, will it solve? Will it get solved if you stress over it?
No, the
No.
mind knows that, but
But
it's
it's
like a child
difficult, isn't it?
inside out. Yeah,
Yeah.
want to do what I want to do, and that's it.
Yes, yes. And sometimes when it is always unexpected, isn't it? Whenever a disease is diagnosed. And rather than, sometimes we don't even feel grateful that we have got diagnosed. Because many times if diagnosis does not happen, then the treatment or the forward journey cannot take place, isn't it? Now let us just see what the Gita talks about. Where is it that Vyadhi word comes very nicely in the eighth shloka? If you see, Indriyartheshu Vairagyam Anahankara Evacha Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. With absolute detachment, devoid of ego's false perceptions, beyond the pull of nature's sensual attractions, knowing the truth of birth, death, old age, and disease, without sorrow, understanding their underlying oneness. It is very nicely said by Krishna here as he describes to Arjuna about the way of the Kshetrajna. If you see the shlokas from 7 to 11 in this particular adhyay, Krishna talks about who is the Kshetrajna, who is the master of the Kshetra, who is the master of the field of what we can call life only. These are all the qualities, and one of the qualities in that one shloka, we see the mention of Vyadhi. Krishna says, Indriyartheshu Vairagyam Anahankara Evacha. Rakiji wants to say something. Please feel free to unmute. Yes, Ji.
Yeah, which chapter, Sushruti? Sorry,
13th adhyay. 13th adhyay.
13th Adhyay, 7th shloka you just recited, or 8th
Um,
one.
yeah, I recited the eighth one, but there's one very interesting thing in this particular chapter because in some versions of the Gita, it appears as the ninth shloka. In some versions, it appears as eighth because in some versions, this adhyay begins with a question of Arjuna asking Krishna, what is the Kshetra, what is the Kshetrajna? In some other versions, I think even in the Gita Gorakhpur press as well, you will see that it begins directly with Krishna's words.
Correct, 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 correct.
Yes,
Thank you, Ji.
correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Hari Om Ji. So, Indriyartheshu Vairagyam Anahankaram Evacha. This word Vairagya comes many times in the Gita. What is this Vairagya? We will look at the aspect of Vyadhi, but it's important to get a Vairagya, and this is the Vairagya from the Indriyas. Krishna is talking about a sort of a detachment. Means the Krishna is asked when Arjuna says path of yoga is too difficult. He says, yeah, I understand it. Mind is very he says, Chanchalam hi manha Krishna. Krishna, I can't understand anything. My mind is so chanchal. It is so monkey-like, restless, jumping from here to there. How? How can I bring it into control or how can I bring it into a direction? Where then Krishna replies, yeah, I understand that it is difficult to tame the mind. But he says, Abhyasena and Vairagyena. He says, by practice, by efforts, regular practice. Vairagya comes by regular practice is what we can infer from that shloka that when you practice it, you get it. But what is this Vairagya? Anybody, would you like to share something?
I can only think of detachment, like you said. And
Yeah.
then there are Vairagis who detach from everything and move on. Those are
Oh,
the only two things I know
all right.
or
Shri,
understand.
yes, that is indeed that is one of the meanings. Rakhi is adding something.
Yeah, uh, two simple words, let go.
Letting go.
Yeah,
Okay.
let go. So, and
But don't we, in this withdrawal, do we sometimes completely lose our interest also in
yeah, it's
things?
important. It's
Yes.
important that that should not be there.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that you give up. It doesn't mean give up. It means, it is like detaching yourself. So it is that you are in it, but you are not attached to it.
Okay. All right. Rakhi is like withdrawal is one important
So
aspect of
like
Vairagya,
like
but
like Krishna,
yeah.
like Krishna says ki action should be there. So it doesn't mean, uh, when you are not thinking about the results, so it doesn't mean that you're not acting. So inaction is not the
Yeah.
solution, but yeah, so it's like,
But
Okay.
uh,
Yes, Rakhi.
Shruti,
yeah,
I always feel that if you don't think about the result, how
Hmm.
would you strategize? I mean,
Okay, that is also a point. If you do not think of the result, but I'm just saying is when you do a strategy, Nushweta ji, can you
hmm,
just give me any one example for which you do the strategy so that we look at a
maybe
very
I would say admission for PhD or a job or something which
right?
is which is
That's
like
important.
everybody else is also prepping for the same thing or everybody else is also working on it.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
Or if you say in the school exams also for admission to a good college, isn't it?
hmm.
The
Because
marks are
now
so
we are
important.
not in a practical, now we are not in a battlefield per se, but those moments are also like fought,
Battles. Yeah,
those
yeah.
are also battles of their own kind.
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
So I think, you may please correct me, Sushruji, and other participants also, Shweta ji. It's like, okay, it's not just that, you're the results. Of course, you have something, you have the goal in mind, but once the goal is set, then you are focusing on the process, because focusing on the result will distract you from the process. So, in fact, Krishna also had. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes, yes, you are audible,
Okay,
Ji. Please
okay,
continue. Yes, yes.
okay. So Krishna also had, the goal in mind. Uh, it was not that he was working without
A
anything in his
strategy.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he also had the goal, and but at the same time, what he wanted to say was that, uh, you have to concentrate, you have to focus on the process, otherwise you will not be able to reach the goal.
Yeah. All right, Rakhi. Just that is important to focus. Why I just asked about I said about the school was because one very interesting experience. My physics teacher only had taught. And though I did not do any BSc or anything in physics, but that physics teacher was a very great inspiration for me. Professor Punjabi Kesan, that was his name. He would allow us to, means at a time when everybody just looks at marks only, like Shwetaji is saying, that is the peer pressure or there's the competition. But he would allow us to ask questions about physics, the curiosity of seeking. I did not know what Guru Parampara was when I was in school. I did not know what is this Sanatan Dharma, or I had absolute zero idea about anything. But I knew what is the example of a guru was in this particular person who was living a certain principle. And he would allow out of syllabus questions also, though because the system did not allow him in the class. During lunch break, he would sit. He said, any type of questions you want, you are welcome to come. We would all quickly eat our lunch and go, and there would be a line. Many times, people would have only this. There was this method, this competitive exam questions. How do I solve this? I don't understand this. They would ask him, and he would answer. For me, I had the great joy because no teacher will allow you to ask stupid questions or any questions. So, sir, what is black light? What is Tyndall scattering? What about antimatter? This was all so exciting, and the way he answered with such enthusiasm. And it was so nice for me personally that it kept the flame alive, flame of knowledge, flame of learning. Many people go after PhDs. They have to sometimes publish papers. They forge their results also. They show the outcomes as which are not successful. Many great scientists publish, I will not call them great, many scientists publish in so-called great journals results which are not really having a factual ground because they have lost the aspect or the purpose of what is the PhD, isn't it, Shwetaji? Many of
Yes.
them who, that is where the system has lost or the individual has lost sight of the goal. So Gita is not asking us to anytime waver from the aspiration that is progressing, fulfilling. They say Vyaktitva ka vikas or integral progress of the individual. Arjuna must actually focus on what he cannot focus on what is going to happen afterwards because it is going to be a very gory war. There's going to be death. There is going to be destruction everywhere. But he has a duty, he has a dharma to uphold, and that duty is all he has to focus. He has to become alert. He is going to have strategies for countering. The Vyuha Rachna of one side will have to be countered by the Vyuha Rachna by Arjuna. Maybe that was like there is definitely strategizing because aspiration is not lost here. Shwetaji, if we can say that we are just not attaching only to the outcomes because material outcomes many times ignore what are the aspects which are behind the material plane. That is something we must understand. Sometimes you have to fall because it is the divine will. You might have done everything right. Many times in life we feel I didn't do anything wrong. Why is it that I failed? What have I done? Then it's very easy to say prarabdha, something of my past life. But no, in this current life, experience has come to us to take us ahead. Shwetaji, I think very much we can still hold on to that, isn't it?
Yes, I think, yeah, we can still.
Yeah.
I mean, in the end, what do you? I mean, is it that we have to eventually what? Uh, we have to let go, or is it like just believe that it has
No, no,
happened
I
for
think
a
it's not
higher?
about belief. It is not just believing about something. It is about experiencing, becoming conscious. Like, for example, if I give again another example, that same professor told about his one very famous one, what we can say, not famous, I would say, his favorite student. In one, he would always score all full marks. Now, that was something which was already very big for people like me. Full marks in a physics paper or something, but this child always performed like that well. So it was very certain that the school also, school has to show, no?
Yes.
99.9%. I've got,
Yes.
come, next send your children to my school. My school
Hmm.
is producing so many toppers. So all the
Hmm.
teachers looked up to him as the topper. But in the physics exam, this genius boy, he saw a particular question which was wrong,
Hmm.
meaning the option. He knew that the answer which is expected by the examiner is option C. But
Hmm.
according to the physics, that correct answer is actually answer B.
Hmm.
And he had what we call a dharma sankata, whether or not to write B or C. Physics is
Hmm.
telling him to write B, and the marks are telling him to write C. Now, anybody would say this is not like a permanent example, it is that individual's choice. If you look at it somewhere else, somebody's circumstance, situation, we can't use the same one size fits all. But this
Hmm.
particular child, he wrote the one answer which is correct according to physics. He ended up losing the mark. And when he was asked about it, he said, "It is okay for me. I am more connected with the truth, with learning." And surely what happened next was this person went on deeper into the field and became a good researcher. Many of them who sought marks got, I remember one boy wrote, "Do the due." one ad line he wrote in answer paper of Sanskrit, because he was told that you need to have some question, some Sanskrit words have to be there in your paper, and remaining you can write in English. Nobody will read your papers, is what he was told. And he was very mischievous. So he wrote Do the Do, and that is in the answer of description of maybe some Damayanti's story or what. He has written that. And then he was told that his teacher had told, see, don't write only in English, otherwise they will just give you 75% or 70%. So you add some Sanskrit words in between. And you know what he did? He wrote, translate the paragraph, which was another question paper in the question paper. He wrote the Sanskrit lines from that question paper into a 15-mark answer. And he ended up getting 88% or something like that. Now look at it, the marks have come, but he never touched Sanskrit again in his life. Now isn't that a big loss? He got what he wanted, but his results were quite myopic. The learning never happened. Rakiji is sharing something? Yes, please, Rakiji.
So,
Yeah.
Shushuji, one
Oh,
thing I want to,
okay.
can I?
Yes, yes.
Acha. So, Rakiji, just a moment. I just want to ask that is it so? I have what has always worked with me is that if my vision is myopic, it doesn't work out on its
Huh.
own.
Yeah.
It has always happened with me. Even if I look at other people, mimic or think that
Yeah.
maybe अरे इनके लिए work कर रहा है तो ये ठीक है. This is the template I should follow. But I think it is unless there is a deeper goal attached
Yeah.
to it or a deeper
Yes.
thought. I've never, I mean, never it has
And that
worked
is
out for me.
that is
So
wonderful, isn't it? It's wonderful. It may
but
be
sometimes
challenging. It may be challenging, but
it's
that challenge is
challenging.
what makes us stronger, isn't it? It does not allow us to get compromised.
So,
Oh, what is
I was
yes,
reading some things. It said that if you want to become, if God wants to make me strong now, He should inject cement in my blood. Bloodstream.
how will blood flow then?
So,
Plus, it will be poisonous.
yes, but then thought that it comes from it that
Metaphorically.
everything else might change, but the
Yeah.
deeper thought will take me where it
Yeah,
should.
yeah. Means if you see, Shwetaji, because one thing, I'll come to you, Rakiji, in one moment, ji. So if you see, life sometimes throws us huge challenges. Your most favorite person becomes your least favorite.
Correct.
Or there's this one line in Sri Aurobindo Savitri, his enemies are the ones he came to save.
Yes.
I mean, how do you do that when you have to save somebody and you're actually saving the enemy who's attacking you? So these are all challenges we have sometimes. This is a paradox of life. We face it. But if we don't lose sight of our higher objective, and what is our higher objective? Is it a particular pay package that we draw? Is it a particular say I need this much property? This is going to
Or
consider. I
maybe
will consider. Yeah,
looking for more meaning in our work, or maybe
yeah,
just
yes,
seeking
joy.
peaceful work culture, or maybe
Yes,
sometimes people actually care about peaceful work
yes.
culture, working with more intelligent, transparent people.
It is,
I
it is,
think
it is somebody who is having this higher vision is automatically, maybe initially working challenges may come because when you stand by, very few people stand by ideals and principles. But there are so many people who still stand by the principles, though everybody around them don't. What is it that is driving them? Well, Krishna says they are the leaders, they are the examples. Yad yad acharati shrestha. Krishna gives the example of Janaka Raja. This man is like the richest, the king with all the riches, and yet not bound. He was practicer of Vairagya. And he was the example in the Vibhuti also. Krishna said, if you want to understand me, understand my divinity, look at Janaka. So Janaka was the example in the previous
hmm.
Adhyaya. Means Krishna says, no, where is the best? Where is the best? Well, Janaka is there. So, Shrakiji, you were saying something. Yes, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to share my experience. Um, so, about 2 years ago, I took up shooting as a sport, 10 meters pistol shooting.
Yeah.
So now it was so mystical that, when I started practicing, now that there's a technique to be followed. So the technique is that you have to keep your focus on the side, on the foresight and the hindsight of the pistol. And the target is there, but it is, um, you know, uh, it's like in it is not in focus, so it's blurred. So
Okay.
because you're focusing on the side. So and you know to simply say it is easy, but when you actually do it, uh, you actually tend to focus on the target and not on the site.
Yeah.
And I could relate it so much to what Krishna says, that having set the goal, you have to focus on the process. And as soon as you lose the uh, sight of from the as soon as you lose the focus on the site, you miss the target.
Yeah.
So it was so much relatable. I'm still trying to do it. There are times when I succeed, there are times when I don't. But yes, I am continuing and I'm practicing. And each time I
Try to become
practice,
better.
yes, yes. So this thing, you know, uh, I also used to ask myself, how is it possible that if I don't have the target in my mind, if I don't uh, have a strategy, then how do I do what I do?
Okay.
But after after joining this, after practicing this, it is like, uh, mm, you know in practice, I'm uh,
Able to reach
able
that
to,
state.
yes, yes, I'm able to learn it,
Abhyasena, as
apply
Krishna
it,
said.
and really see it. So, and I believe that it works the same way in other fields also. And once you start relating it, it is visible in each and everything we do.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then coming back to that Vyadhi that you and Vairagya, where
Hmm.
we were. So Vairagya, me, it is like, yeah, let go, and
Yeah.
let go of whatever attachments I have, and not taking on newer attachments.
Huh.
Whenever I take a new initiative, so
Never
there also
attachment.
I don't get attached to uh, things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ji. Absolutely, Rakhi ji. So that is interesting. New attachments we don't want to add in our process. If we have decided our target, and we should have a target, we should have a dhyaya, we should have a sankalpa. Okay, I see myself moving ahead on the path of Krishna. I decide I want to go ahead. I want to go ahead closer to the divine. That can be a great target. How do I go and all of that? I think it's easier to, we don't know the entire kshetra of the divine. So let the guide worry about leading, isn't it? We just have to follow. We get the direction. So this vairagya is interesting. It is withdrawal, but it is not a negative withdrawal, or what many times they say shmashan vairagya, vairagya which is making a person completely disconnected from the universe. It is actually you are connected, you are conscious, you are not missed out on the any activity that is happening, only you are not getting carried away by it. So that is something in it. I think what Rakiji talked about, not getting into old or new attachments.
Yeah, being
So
aware at all
yeah,
times.
so but the interesting aspect is indriyartheshu vairagya and anahankaram cha. Because indriya is there and ahankar is there in the kshetra only, no? So the indriya and the ahankar are working to destroy your vairagya. Ahankar is going to come in. I have told this person to do like this. How dare that person not listen to me? Or I know so much. The I keeps coming in between. We have to be very cautious and try to pull ourselves. Even sometimes somebody says something, it disturbs us. Somebody, does something, we see that, and that disturbs us. So whatever our senses give us as inputs, we suddenly act to it. We get frustrated. Say our friends, we expect our friends or family to behave in a particular manner. A basic human tendency, a basic human expectation. Don't we all have some basic expectations?
Yes, we all have basic expectations, and I feel that other people also contribute in our becoming, and we contribute to some other people.
Yes.
So
But
expectations are very human,
yes,
and I mean,
but
we,
Shwetaji, these basic expectations also don't get fulfilled many times, no?
yes, sir. Yes,
And then then there is breathing pattern changes without practicing any pranayam automatically. Only this breathing pattern is not a rhythmic one. It is a rhythmic breathing
hmm.
pattern. Anger, frustration, annoyance, disturbance, depending on the nature. And beautifully, Krishna has told each of us is a different layers, different states of consciousness, and like different colors, no? So each of us will react to the loss of expectation in a different manner. The cranky person will get angry. The person who is always calm. I
Lost
had
you there
to.
for about a minute.
Yes, yes. The screen suddenly decided to practice a different type of Vairagya. So I'm logging in from another computer right now. Yes, I'm audible, isn't it?
Yes, I could hear you now.
Yeah. So, yes, what was it that you last heard?
I would like to add something.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that we should all have better filters, better filter. We all have expectations of everybody, but we
I
should be
thought you were talking
starting with
about the camera filter on the screen. Sorry. Yeah.
no
Yeah.
individual filter,
Yeah.
what goes in. We have expectations of others, but I think we should start with ourselves only
Yeah.
because we have expectations of others. It's only natural others will have expectations of us as
Yes.
well. And
Yes.
people don't act or react as we want them to. So
Yes.
you can only deal with the individual, with oneself. So that's where it all starts. So we
Yes.
should have
Yes.
a better filter of what
Yeah.
to let in, what to let out.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And the fact that if you see this expectation, we sometimes hold a small expectation. I want at least this basic tendency. My friend should at least acknowledge this much. I'm not asking him to say so many things, but so many years of friendship, this should have been done. Or at least my parents should have behaved this way. At least my uncle should have talked this way. My sister should have been this way. Brother should have been this way. These all factors, no matter what, however human they are, we must understand that they are a limitation. Gita is asking us to actually let go of all of this, all of these, the slightest. Then the question comes, what is it? Then we will not see, we will cease to remain human. Yes, that is what Gita is trying to do. It is asking us and making us cease to remain human. When anybody will feel, what is that? What does that mean? It is making us divine, isn't it? Making
Mm.
us move closer to the divinity. Because we are human, we are getting troubled by human ailments, human errors, human problems. So this Vairagya is again beautifully explained in different parts of the Gita. And there is a nice bhajan of our Shiva, where they say Janma Janmacha Ha Yogi. In Marathi it is. He is a Sansari Ananda Bhogi. He experiences the Anand of the Sansara. He is a yogi who is several births he has seen, and yet he is enjoying the Ananda over several lives of so many people, overseeing all of it and still in a bliss. Should we call him Viragi or should we call him Bhogi is the question. Viragi ki manu Bhogi. That is the poetic question asked in that Geet of worship of Shiva. Is he Viragi or is he Bhogi? Because that distance or that line itself disappears. You can enjoy your life, you can be the one, you can be somebody experiencing the full experience of life and yet practice Vairagya. Because when you do that, you will be able to be in sync with the divine consciousness. You get what we call a poise. If you look at the next part, which is closer to our topic of Vyadhi, knowing the truth of birth, death, old age, and illness, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. This is also Kurukshetra. This is like our Kshetra of the world is like a Kurukshetra because it is also a Mrityu Kshetra, isn't it? Death is a part of this world. It is there everywhere. Birth is also one. Birth, death, old age, disease. Aren't these all parts of life?
Yes.
Many times we don't like it. How many of us like old age? Many don't like old age. Some people try to color their hair and completely show that they are not old. But when they color, they will be able to see, isn't it? What are they coloring? On the roots.
Yes, and one of my aunts used to say that भगवान मुझे 60-65 पे उठा लेना, मेरे को किसी के मतलब बुढ़ापा नहीं देखना,
But
मतलब
that
मेरा
is
हो
not
गया,
a choice.
मतलब बच्चों की शादी कर दी मैंने, हो गया, आई एम डन विद ऑल
Okay.
दैट, आई
Then did she have a,
डोंट.
did she cross 60 or
Oh, she
was
has very well crossed all of that.
she's crossed? So God has not listened to her, isn't it?
Yes.
So that is something which we really don't know. We don't know exactly when death is going to come to whom at what time. It's always a paradox. Sometimes great people have short lives and horrible people have very long lives. We don't know what is the calculation of the divine. It is a different aspect. And that is why it perplexes us, it makes us most disturbed. We do not understand anything. Same is the case with diseases also. When disease strikes, we lose control of our own vehicle, our own body. And we don't understand what is it that we are doing, how do we move ahead, what is to be done. And yet, Krishna says, knowing this truth of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, all these are a part of life. A very interesting thing had happened during the COVID times. Actually, COVID time only got me the chance to start reading this Gita book. Otherwise, this book was gathering dust, written in 2014, and it was just gathering dust. And somehow these online vargas started. But that time, one very interesting question regarding, Vyadhi came to me while I was taking the class. I would not say teaching, just learning. So here in the eighth adhyaya, if you see the Gita's eighth adhyaya is the adhyaya of death, isn't it? Arjuna is going to, he talks to Krishna. He says, I want to understand what happens after death, what is the journey? And Krishna is describing. And at that time, Corona was going on, and I myself also got Corona at that same period. So it was very interesting to take the Varga at that time. I would sleep the entire day. My mother would wonder what is going on because my this SpO2 levels were very low. Once even my Guruji came and touched me to see if I'm because I was just lying down on the bed and not moving. Somehow during the Varga I would enjoy. Well, just before I got that diagnosis and all, before that, my father had gone through a heart, some heart trouble had come. He was in the ICU. And that day I had to take the Gita Varga. And my father is a doctor. So, a doctor in the hospital, it was very strange. And in the ICU, all the doctors are also not able to understand what is the reason, what is happening. What was this? It was basically because he was wearing the mask, and since he was the administrator also, moving around continuously in the hospital under that pressure of managing the entire hospital, that was his responsibility. So during that time, his something happened and his infection flared up, but nobody could understand. Because nobody could understand, everybody was under a great pressure. And in that, I had to take a Gita Varga on death. So I asked my Guruji, what should I do? And he said, see, this is your practical exam. You're talking about detachment. Now you have to take about this in the session. And very interestingly, there was an elderly gentleman who was in his 70s or 80s who had the habit of giving his own pravachans during the class. But that particular day on the topic, he said, I am afraid of death. Take away my fear of death right now. I was here, I am in my own head wondering about what is going to happen and so worried. But one simple aspect what allowed me to take the Varga was because I said, told myself I am not a doctor. I cannot go and treat. What is the divine's will? Divine will take care. The best doctors are treating. What can I do? I can probably help by going getting the medication, different medication, food, and all of that. Beyond that, maybe when I get the chance to meet, I can do that. But beyond that, I just have to focus on my duty, nothing else. And I just, with good faith, praying to Krishna, let what is your will, something nice, let it happen. And just letting go, it was very useful for me that I could talk. And otherwise, that particular topic for me, it was almost, I think, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. That was quite difficult for me at that particular time, but it did help. So, means disease was there. Disease did not disappear, but a kind of disturbance due to the disease did not take place, because many times disturbance due to disease comes to the patient also, but sometimes it comes to the other people also, and that creates further problems. Everybody gets into a sorrow. A home which is having one person with disease sometimes becomes a home with multiple people with disease, or the entire home becomes extremely sorrowful because nobody is able to practice vairagya. Nobody is able to practice that detachment that Krishna is asking from us. Instead, if one person can, become detached, then that person can become they can get strength directly from Krishna and can lift the entire home also. That is so important to practice. And here this shloka talks about it. Without sorrow, understanding their underlying oneness, meaning recognizing no matter what disease is there, calm and quietude and peace of mind, if you can practice that, then you will be able to see as one.
So accepting
Yeah.
that there is, whatever disease it is, whatever problem it is. So accepting that takes care of a lot of issues, because then you are ready for the right treatment. You are ready with the right kind of mindset. So that
And you
helps
are
in.
receptive to Krishna also. You are receptive to Krishna, who is very
Yes.
much in the Kshetra, who is giving us guidance at all times. Our problem is not that Krishna is not helping or Krishna is not there. Our problem
The
is
very
that we are
fact,
not listening.
the very fact that I'm faced with a challenge or with a disease, there is something that I have to go through and learn through that, and that is why
Yes.
I'm facing that.
Yes, there was one doctor
Acceptance.
who,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. I think Dr. Bhavanaji shared an experience very recently of a young doctor who suddenly got diagnosed with terminal stage cancer. And she had just, everything had settled in her life. And at that time, she got diagnosed. And interestingly, she published a research paper on her own case only. I mean, it's not her own particular as herself as a patient. She had, on that same type of cancer, she had published a very good research paper. And yet she was not able to do anything. And slowly, slowly, as the time went by, and that was when she started reading the Gita. And she was at very good peace in the last moments of her life. She was able to see. She was able to see the oneness. Everybody else were not able to understand it. And yet, this young woman was able to see the oneness, means understanding the oneness. What is life and what is death? Aren't they just different, like day and night, isn't it? The cycle, isn't it? We go through that. This birth is what we have today. Tomorrow, another. Punarapi Janama, Punarapi Marana. The cycle is there, and in that cycle, we have to seek what is the mukti or liberation, and that liberation will come. That liberation will come only by the grace of the divine. And he has also said not to worry about it. If you surrender, he says, Ma Shucha, don't worry. Moksha Ishyami. I'll grant you that moksha to you. But a surrendering aspect to the divine, if we do that, we can actually be peaceful. There's nothing to be worried. Can look at all of this with oneness. Because if you are able to practice samatha, then there's no vyadhi. There's no vyadhi at all. I think how Shashiji shared in Gujarati, vyadhi means uh,
Worrying.
worry, isn't it?
Worrying.
Yeah. Yes, yes. There is a very nice bhajan, I think sung by Suresh Vadkar in Marathi. It says, माझ्या मना लागो छंद गोविंद नित्य गोविंद नित्य गोविंद. And it's a beautiful line there. It says, तुटेल सकळ उपाधी निरसेल आदि व्याधी. All your degrees, all your positions, all of them will fall apart. And then your all worries also will disappear, your diseases also will disappear. Nirasela Govinda, because then when you are into Smaran of Govinda, Nitya Govinda, the Smaran of the divine, when you are in the divine's consciousness, people get the experience. Usha Maji feels sometimes extreme pain. She's not there today in our class, but that has been going on for several years for her. She's been under extreme pain, but then with Krishna, she frolics and she enjoys. She's one leg is paining a lot. She says, Krishna, sit on the other leg now. This is hurting too much. And she has beautifully, she's an artist, so she has drawn and she has her own stories. And then she gets scoldings also from Krishna for being restless. And her beautiful journey is there, and that journey is possible. We do not have to. Sometimes we see people who are going through the biggest challenges are the ones who are smiling the most because they have understood some secret. They've understood the secret of life, that is to experience the bliss of life. And the best way we can do it is with divine company. So we have to, if we, whatever may be our situation, whatever be our time on earth that we have, it is a short journey, of course. Even if it's 100 years, it's short, isn't it? On a long span of time. Life's journey is quite short if you look at it in a soul journey, if you look at it. We all come and go. It is like Sri Aurobindo is beautifully in the hymn to Durga. Birth after birth, we come to do your bidding, and then we go back to our home. We come to serve the divine. So many births. So, in this small life that we have, how many other moments we are having? I think if we remember the divine, maybe the disease aspect will actually pass in ease, no? We can actually enjoy the presence of the divine and get a strength, a resilience. And there are many cases where unexpected things happen. I went to a doctor for skin trouble. The doctor said, do you pray? I was so surprised. Doctor is asking, do you pray? Means, what is this? Not that I was very worried because it was just a minor dermal trouble. But she said, see, in this will my father used to say this. You go to this temple, offer salt, and pray to that particular Grama Devata. And your worried, your this disease will go away. I was very curious. I said, I understand this, all right, but as a doctor, how are you saying this work? She said, see, no, my body has to fight it. Body has to awaken. If this works for you, if you are able to awaken your immune system, she said, when I give you an injection, I am just triggering your immune system and trying to elicit an immune response so that your immune system suddenly wakes up and do it. If that can happen with prayer, that is also good. You see, I am interested in the net outcome that the patient must be cured. So whether it goes this way or that way, she said, I don't have any problem with prayer. I think I had a chance to write about prayer and Sri Aurobindo's action, and that time I quoted that doctor. And then while going, I did ask the question little cheekily. So, doctor, prayer should be done before food or after food?
3 times a day.
3 times a day. Postprandial or preprandial. That is the doctor's question. Medicine, isn't it? And it was done religiously. So this is the aspect, I think, of disease. If we wish to see, I think we will have to first see that divine is bringer of everything. So why only good things? Okay, bad thing also is brought by the divine. Let me become silent and try to see what is behind what is happening in the front, behind the providences of things that are unfolding on the outside. It is in silence, it is in calmness. Gita talks at one very clearly in one place with Vairagya, without ahankar. Why me is not a question a yogi asks. A yogi does not ask this question to God. Why me? That is not a question because this person has, this whatever has come, it is a blessing of the divine. I will try my best to make the most of what I have and try to move towards the divine. That should be the approach, probably. So I think with this, we are ready to conclude our session today. If anybody wishes to ask or share something, you are welcome. Or we
Just want to
conclude.
ask one thing. When we are
Yes.
working towards our goal, like Rakiji said that you don't look at the main target, you look around. And
Yeah.
even when we are working, has anybody ever experienced a certain amount of imposter syndrome or a feeling that what I'm doing is correct or not?
It always
Or
happens, no? But it always happens when you are not really fully in sync with that mission, no? If that mission is a part of you, a soldier who has dedicated his life for service, there the goal is what? Service of Bharat Mata. That is so abstract, that topic. Service of Bharat Mata can mean anything, isn't it?
yes,
But that child, young child, say to a young man of 20, 21 years old, would go running, isn't it, to risk the life
yes,
without a
yes.
second thought. No,
Hmm.
no imposter syndrome will come there because the mission is clear. No, mission statement is also strong. I am going to serve the mother. The motherland is my home, and I'm going to protect it with all the force I have, irrespective of whatever, whether I perish or not. It does not matter because that is
Yes.
the mission. That is the, we can say, dharma. So when you uphold the dharma, when you're the questions come when we are not clear, or sometimes when we have different, you know, expectations. Sometimes
Yes.
that creates the doubts. And Gita is very simple. Keep this, let it go on. Krishna says you aspire for perfection and don't worry about mistakes also, he says.
He's the best guy in the world.
Yeah, yeah, best friend of everybody. And it's so cool,
Yes.
isn't it? He doesn't even send us friend requests, and yet everybody wants his companion friendship.
Yes.
Yes, yes. But many Vyadhi is there. I think if we want to draw a conclusion to this, it is we become alert, we become aware. You see, this Adhyaya talks about becoming conscious of our body. We cannot say Krishna will cure, so I will keep eating all the jalebis I can eat, even though I have diabetes. Because Krishna is so sweet. I will pray to sweet Krishna, he will he'll reduce my sugar levels. That won't work, isn't it?
Yes.
That's not our sincere aspect. So our sharira is there. We have to recognize the sharira. We have to recognize the kshetra. We have to become conscious of the kshetra's flaws also. Krishna says there are vikara also. So all of that we have to understand. We have to put in our best effort. But remember, do not fret or panic. And it is just looking at everything with a balanced view.
Yes.
Soldiers have to shout. Soldiers have to scream. But even that has to be done in a balanced manner as a duty, isn't it?
Mm.
Not in a emotional frenzy. That creates trouble. So that vairagya is something probably which we can see that as a great way to look at or deal with any vyadhi, physical or mental. Yes,
Yes.
ji. All right, ji. I think with this we are ready to conclude our session. If there are
Could
no
I just,
queries,
may
yes,
I
please.
just ask
Of
you,
course.
it's unrelated, but I would just like to know, are we having our classes on Fridays now, or is this
No, no,
just
it was on Wednesday. Two times on Fridays I had to travel, and then I was not going to be able to log in at 8:30. So I
oh,
made it on
okay.
Wednesday. I requested for Wednesday, but Wednesday is all right, isn't it, for everybody?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it is.
just that sometimes I have appointments, then I need to know
Okay.
which day, etc. I mean, like a hiccup here
Okay.
and there is fine,
Yeah,
but
I will.
I
It will
just need
mostly
to
now
be
be on
aware.
Wednesday, and I will announce a little bit beforehand whenever there is
No,
a
that's not a
reschedule.
problem. It is
Yes,
what it is, as and when.
indeed.
But Wednesday is normally the
Wednesday.
fixed day.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Hari Om.
Hari Om
Survey.
Sushi.
Yes, ji, please tell me, Shweta
Sorry,
ji.
sorry, nothing, nothing, nothing.
No
I was just
problem.
saying Hari Om Sushi. Sorry, sorry, please.
Oh, no, that's fine. Okay.
Prayer,
What
prayer
is
करती
Hari
थी.
Om? Hari Om is always nice. Why sorry to come up for saying Hari Om? Anyway, Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. This prayer is
Thank
also about the same thing, isn't it? सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे
you.
सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. Let everybody become free of these, any sorts of disease also, any sorts of disturbance also, because then we will become free, no? It's also a selfish prayer. I want to be
Yes,
blissful and happy, so I want the world to be happy, because if my world is a unhappy place, how am I going to experience the real bliss? So,
absolutely.
yes, Jeep. All right, looking forward next week then. Hari Om Ji. Namaste. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hari
Namaste.
Om.
Hari Om Ji. Hari Om.